Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube, and what we're going to make are ginger cookies. It's a soft ginger cookie. The reason that I like this recipe is that there's some unique ingredients in it, so I wanted to try it, and I was really pleased with the results. Now, I am going to make this cookie with a solid shortening. If you don't like shortening, to be honest with you, I've never made it with butter, but I have several other recipes on my channel for ginger cookies and what are using butter. So if you might not like this recipe, you know, check out my other ones, okay? What I wanted to tell you also is that this contains molasses, and it really has such a wonderful ginger spice quality to this cookie. So let's get started. First, you're going to start off with a cup of shortening, okay? And you will need to probably do this in a stand-up mixer because this cookie dough can get rather, you know, thick and, well, it's a little bit harder to get through with a hand mixer, but I don't know your hand mixer. So put your cup of shortening in there. We're going to cream it, and we're going to break it up just a few seconds here. It would help if I plugged my mixer in here. Now once you do that, you're going to need granulated sugar, so put 1 cup in and cream them both together. So you've got 1 cup of shortening and you've got 1 cup of granulated sugar. Now beat this for a few minutes. I'm moving it along due to the video, but do spend, you know, a minute or two and cream this well. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is put an egg in at room temperature and beat that in. I'm going to warn you about the sound because I'm going to turn my mixer up a little bit higher to move it along for the video. Now once you cream that egg with the shortening and the butter, you're going to put 2 cups of molasses in there. So I'm going to put a little at a time, and I'm going to raise my speed. Whoops. This is very sticky. Sticky. Okay, let me get rid of that. And just quickly rinse my hands. Okay, here we go again. So get all that 2 cups in there. I'm going to take the rest of it out. And just beat that well. Now that may take you 3 or even 4 minutes. It really depends on your speed. Okay, I'm just going to check it at this time to clean the sides of my mixing bowl here and get to the bottom where it tends to stick. Okay, and then I'm going to turn the mixer on for a little bit here. So again, warn you about the sound. going to do is we're going now to put in 2 tablespoons of cider vinegar. And that's why I mentioned early on that this recipe was kind of unique with different ingredients, okay? So that was 2 tablespoons of cider vinegar. And then we're going to just beat it all together. Okay, now once again, you're going to be beating at lower speeds than myself and that type of thing. Again, I just want to make sure that I'm getting that bottom. I'm going to show you what it looks like so far. At least I hope you can see that from there, from that angle. I'm going to turn it on once again. And it's really quite mixed well and creamy. Now the dry ingredients. You're going to need 7 cups of all-purpose flour. You're also going to be putting in 2 tablespoons of ginger. So you can see the great flavors that you're going to be getting when you're using 2 tablespoons of ginger. You're also going to put 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon in, 1½ teaspoons. You're going to be putting in 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg in your dry, 4 teaspoons of baking soda, 4 teaspoons. The reason I'm repeating everything is so that there won't be a mistake in, oh, did she say this or did I hear that? Because there won't be the directions of the recipe below the video due to so many people taking my videos to other sites and what have you. So that's why I want to spend the time and clearly say or repeat the measurements for you. We're also going to be putting in 1 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm going to stir that. Then I'm going to get out in just a moment a cup of boiling water. Okay, and I'll have that in just a second. I really like it to be very hot. And then just combine this with your spoon or wooden spoon or anything that you want to and stir it well, because there's 7 cups of flour in this, so you do want to make sure it's well combined, all those ingredients. Okay, while we're waiting for the water, just want to remind everybody to please watch my videos solely on YouTube, because I always ask you, if you try the recipe and you like it, to leave a comment. Well, when you leave comments or ask questions, they go to other sites. I don't get any of your questions, so I'm unable to answer them. And it's quite frustrating. So again, that's another reason why I'm asking you to watch Diane Lovetobake solely on YouTube, because that's the only place that I put my videos on. Okay, so while we're waiting, I'm just going to grab a measuring cup very quickly, because we're going to measure out a cup. Now what I find is to alternate the water with the dry. If you don't want to do it that way, you can actually put your water in next and then put the dry in. It's really up to you, but I prefer to do it this way. Okay, so all right, my water is ready. So now I just have to divvy out a cup of hot water, boiling water, I should say. Okay. All right, and now we're going to start slowly putting the dry into this mixture and then add the boiling water accordingly. You'll want to do this at a low speed because you don't want to get flour all over your kitchen. So just, keep blending it, and when you feel the need, start putting in that boiling water. Okay. Now you'll probably have to raise your speed because you can even start to hear that my mixer is starting to struggle a little bit with how thick this is. So I'm going to raise my speed. Add a little bit more water and keep putting in that dry. Again, I don't know if you can hear, but that the mixer is struggling a little bit at this low of a speed. Here's the rest of my water. I'm going to turn it up for just a few moments, so I want to warn you about the sound. You can see that at high speed, even on this mixer, it is struggling a little bit. So that's why I was telling you earlier you might not want to attempt this recipe with a hand mixer, that type of thing. So I'm just going to turn it on for a minute or two more. Not even a minute, I'm sorry. Very short period of time. Okay, and then I'm going to take out my paddle. And then you'll be able to see the batter a little bit better. And again, why I said, use your stand-up. See, I don't know if you can see it's amazing as heavy as this mixture is, how really light and moist and chewy this cookie does come out. It really is amazing. But again, you've got to have the patience that it'll take you a little bit of time to put it together. And like I said, it's it is a heavy batter and quite sticky to handle. Okay, so I'm just gonna again just clean up those sides and double check that bottom to make sure the cookie dough has all come together. Okay, and that gives you a pretty good idea of it. I hope it does anyway. All right, what you'll be dealing with. Now this is going to make a lot of cookies. This can actually make about 8 dozens of cookies if you make them about a teaspoon large. Now you will need, of course, a cookie sheet or cookie tray, and you need to heavily grease it or use your parchment paper or your silicone mats, whatever you prefer. Now I generally use a small scoop. If you don't have one or don't want to use one, just use a regular teaspoon. That'll be fine. Okay, now these cookies aren't going to really spread out much. So you don't have to worry about them too much in that respect. But I usually put them at least about 1.5 inches apart on the tray. Now you're going to bake these cookies at 350 degrees, and they're going to take you anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. But as you know, all our ovens set up so differently, so I start really watching mine around 6 minutes, 7 minutes to see how they're coming along, because you don't want to overbake these to make these cookies really dry. You want them to have a chewy, soft type of texture to them. Now you can at this point sprinkle on a coarse sugar if you want, or the color sugars if you prefer. I don't do them that way. I actually make a powdered sugar glaze, and then I cover them with little jimmies. But it's really up to you, like I said, or you can use granulated sugar if you don't have coarse sugar over the tops, if you prefer. So let me rinse my hands really quick, and I want to show you the finished product. Once they bake up, and I purposely left some without the glaze so you'd be able to see them, what they look like. You know, as far as the appearance of the cookie and the bottom, okay, a light golden brown. When you break into them, I don't know if you can see that, but they're very moist and they're very chewy. I'm just going to press on them a little bit, maybe perhaps you can see. They're not extremely dry, as I said, or heavy. You know, you would think because the cookie batter is so heavy that the cookie's going to be like a rock or something. Well, it really isn't. Okay, and then I want to show you is all I did was make a sugar glaze. Now you can take powdered sugar and water, or powdered sugar and milk, to the consistency of how thin or thick that you want it, and then you can sprinkle your little jimmies on that. I did that with some little bit of green and red. And again, we'll break open that cookie. It has a wonderful smell to it as you're baking these cookies. They really melt in your mouth. They really are more delicate of a cookie than you can imagine. But if you like ginger, cinnamon, and molasses, all these wonderful ingredients and spices that we put in, you're really going to like this cookie. But it is a chewy cookie, okay? So it has, you know, the top is has a softer quality as well as the bottom. The bottom is probably the most crisp part of this cookie. Well, there you have it. You've got ginger cookies that you can, you know, decorate them, or just put simple granulated sugar, or leave the sugar out. They're a great tasting cookie. Again, I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake. If you're so inclined and you'd like to give me a like or even subscribe, that would be fantastic. And if you try this cookie and you like it, we'll leave a comment. But remember, please leave your comments and watch me on YouTube so I can answer you. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.